Alright, here we're back to where we left off yesterday, working on this letter, which we're going to use for some simple in-game sort of story moments. And we're in a pretty good spot here. This is generally rigged okay. I should be able to move the letter around. I can open and close the envelope, and the paper itself is rigged up. I think I've got the UVs already set up here from yesterday on the paper. Cool. I haven't done any UVs here, so I need to get some basic UVs on the envelope. We're going to keep this very simple and just try to unfold this. Okay. Mark those as a seam. Unwrap. There we go. Cool. Okay. Got some basic UVs. Let's save this. And I got them as two different objects right now. Envelope and the letter, but I think that's okay. That should be fine. Alright, let's go over to Unity and start getting this set up. We'll start off by just making a basic prefab for the story letter. And it's going to have this new model, which I put in here somewhere, probably down here, story letter. Okay, it's ginormous. Okay, but first we're just going to turn this into a prefab. I guess this is an environment prefab. Why not? Okay. Probably just going to scale this here in Unity to get to the right size that I need. Let's have a look here and kind of get it close. It's not really going to be realistic in terms of size, it just needs to look okay on screen. So let's see here, it's going to be somewhere over here, like this, and facing this way, I think. It's interesting that it's so dark, but we'll work on that. Okay, yeah, so you're here looking at this screen. We could even, yeah, I guess it is really dark in here. Wonder if I need a reflection probe or something. Okay. Let's just, I don't know what happened, by the way. My depth of field is completely broken right here. I'm gonna have to fix that. Doesn't seem to be broken in other spots though. Actually, let's test it real quick. If I try to edit my character, is it busted? No. Just this screen. Okay. Not sure quite how I broke that, but I'll get back to that. Okay. So this is the camera view where you're going to see this letter. And I mean, that's not bad, right? We're gonna actually have it be about this big on screen, and I kind of don't mind if it's a little close to the camera so that when we focus on it, the depth of field will blur out the background a little bit. Might actually be a nice effect. So this is about the right size. Okay, we're gonna have to figure out what to do about the lighting. I already have a reflection probe in here. That's not really helping us. I might need a light just for the letter. That's okay though. Yeah, do I have like a That doesn't change anything. Wasn't sure if I had some letters set up or some layers set up already that would be affecting this. Not really. We could reuse this controller overlay layer. We're not using that in here. But anyway, we'll come back to that, making it bright enough to see in a sec. Meanwhile, yeah, let's see, the actual sunlight is coming from this direction. Overall, the lighting is a little harsh in here. Anyway, I might want like a fill light on the character as well. Probably would improve the visuals in here. Okay, but anyway, that means I'm okay with the size of this letter, physically speaking. And I actually should mark down. Let's go like this. Create empty. Call this letter handle. Let's actually mark where we want this to be. Okay, so you come in here, boom. This letter we want to be approximately right here when it pops up on screen. Maybe even turn slightly. Okay, so we'll copy that. We're gonna come out of play mode and we're going to paste that onto this. So now in the scene I've got a spot where the letter should be instantiated. And for now we'll just set this temp letter in that spot. Okay, so now what we can do is let's make, I have two basic things I need to do. One is I need to animate this, which can be a very simple animation, and then two, I need to set it up so that I can generate some text that will be mapped onto this letter. And I want it to be actually on the letter so that when it unfolds, you actually see that the text is there, right? Okay. So let's do the animation first. So we can go to the animation tab here, create a new animation. I have a folder with all the animations in the game, so that's where I put those. This is going to be story, letter, open. Okay. Now we're going to set this to record mode, and then we'll start manipulating the armature here. Okay, so step one, let's fold up the letter. So that's going to involve rotating these bones here. It should be about 180, right? Okay. Whoa. Why can't I frame that? Okay. Ooh, looks like my normals are flipped. I have to fix that. Okay, it's not X on this bone? Of course not. Why would it be? Why would they be the same? Okay. Now, wait a minute. Okay. So this one... Wait a minute, why am I not... Oh no, oh no. Undo, undo, undo. I added an animator here, but there's already one here. So we're just gonna get rid of that one. Yeah. We're gonna animate it from here. Okay, now if I go back to record mode and I go here and I make a change, it should make a key. Okay, cool. So this one's gonna be 180. Yeah, or maybe 179.9. Okay. And then the bottom is going to be folded like that. Okay. We did it. We successfully folded a letter. And then we need to put it in the envelope. And I wish the I wish the lighting was a little easier to see what's going on here. Maybe I need to put a material on this to help me better visualize what I'm doing. Whoa, what's going on there? Okay. So there we are. We're kind of inside the envelope now. Okay. And then the envelope flap itself needs to close. Roughly like that. All right. And yeah, okay. Then this whole thing needs to be, ooh, not that. Ooh, I didn't parent these properly. Let me stop. Let's go, let's jump to, let's see, how long should this reveal take? Maybe like 2.5 seconds. So let's jump to like 2.5 seconds and let's quickly undo everything. This is kind of our end pose. Okay, so now we've got just like some kind of weird, crappy animation started. Now let's stop. Let's go back to Blender. Because what we need is, I want to be able to move these things together easily. So I guess I just need to go in here and I need to actually give this bone a parent, which is the root one, and do the same for this one. So now I can move the whole thing, although yeah, that should be okay. Alright. And my normals were weird. Let's look at that. So in Blender, I always forget that I can do this, and then I can go look and see. Yeah, so see how I don't see any blue lines pointing up out of these edges here. It means that all these normals are flipped. Shift N, fix that. What about this one? This one looks correct. Okay, save that. Okay, now our hierarchy is a little different here. Did that break some of our animation? Yes, it did. So Unity actually remembers these animation keys down here are actually coming from a string that's kind of representing the hierarchy. And now that these are these transforms I was animating before are now a child of this main transform called bone, I have to fix that. You can do it here if you click twice and get this to show up. Now I know it's story letter / armature / bone / envelope base. And see, now that key is happy again. Is able to find the transform in question. So I can just quickly remap these. If this was a much bigger rig, this would not be worth doing this way, because it's super manual. But I only had 4 keys, so what the heck. Okay. Alright, now also see the my translation key is wrong, because now that we're a child of the bone, like the orientation of that of the bone is wrong, which is this one. So if I go here, I had been moving it in the Z direction, but actually it wanted to be moved in the Y direction, it looks like. Interesting. Yeah. They're offset from each other now? Let's see. Yeah, they are. Why is that? This one had some position baked into it. That's weird. I don't see that here. Okay. I wonder why that happened, but let's keep going. Alright, so now what we need is this letter piece to be inside the envelope, like that. Man, when I hit frame, it really zooms out on this. I don't quite know why. What? Yeah, it's clipping strange. Oh, could be the bounds of the render. Okay, so it's going to be something like that. Oh, what an amazing animation, right? Basically done. Alright, but now we should be able to, let's see, how far down is this? Was 3 units down. So, not in the Y, in the, wouldn't that be the Y? It's Z. Oh, relative to the parent, okay, fine. Like that. And then here, that will be back to 0. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Okay, obviously I have to add a lot more keys to this. We'll get there in a second, but here's our basic. And actually I think we want probably to pose this ever so slightly. We don't want the letter to be like perfectly straight at the end, you know, we want a little curvature to it. Quick guess, what's this gonna be? Not X. Okay, it must be Z. It is. Okay. Yeah, a little curvature like that, and even maybe the whole letter could be tilted a little bit. So that's like our final pose there. Alright, I think we need to get some kind of material on this. This is really hard to see what's going on. It's so, like, the shading is so strong. Okay. So let's go here to Gymnast materials. We're gonna make a new material. This is gonna be story letter. Okay. Now to get this started, I've got like a basic kind of letter or paper texture here. And I'm now going to save into the project. I made this so that it can tile. Where am I saving this? Into the project folders. Okay, so this is paper diffuse. Okay. Okay. Super bright still. And that's starting to look a little better. But we're gonna have to actually make our own shader for this because we need to combine this with our content, the actual letter words. And I think I'm gonna set this all up as part of this prefab. So let's do this right now. We're gonna make a layer down here for story letter. Okay. This entire prefab is going to be on that layer. Then we're going to make a camera. Letter content camera. Okay. This is going to clear to a solid color, which is transparent. This is going to be an orthographic camera. Let's turn the gizmos back on. Okay. This guy needs to sit off somewhere. Oh, you know what? I need more than one. I need yeah, like more than one layer for this idea, but we'll get there in a second. Okay, so this camera is going to sit off to the side and, you know, have a whatever appropriately sized size here. We don't need much in the way of near far clip planes, so there you go. Okay. Right, so we need another layer. I wonder if we do... Yeah, let's change this to story letter content. Okay. So this letter itself is not going to be on that layer. But this camera is only going to render things that are in the content layer. Okay, cool. Then we're going to make a UI canvas. This is going to be a screen space tied to a camera, and it's tied to this camera. And it's going to be 3 units away from the camera. There we go. Cool. Now to test this, we will put some, let's throw an image on here, like this. This might be like in the upper left-hand corner of the paper. Or whatever. And some temp text. Okay. We'll use this font as a test. It's going to be dark ink. Hello and welcome to Pro Gymnast. This is some temporary text for the letter. Woot. Okay. Text probably need to be pretty big. Alright. So now we've got a camera that only draws this layer. And we needed to render that into texture. So we're going to make a specific sized texture for this. Just in the project. Where do I have my other ones? Like I have my replay. Here we go. Oh, cool. I have a rendering folder. Look at that. That seems like a good place to put it. Okay, create a render texture. Where is that? Custom render texture. Okay, this is the story letter RTT. Okay, now size. So the aspect ratio of this should be similar to the paper aspect ratio. It needs to be high enough res that you can read it. So let's make it like 1024 by slightly larger than that, right? 1024 times 4 by 3. What is that? What? I have to go to the... Okay. 1365. Okay. Alright. Now this camera is going to render into that. And the older versions of Unity had this bug where when you would set a camera to render into a render texture, the camera's aspect ratio in the scene view would still match the game screen. They look like they've updated at some point. This is much better now. So when you set a render texture, the camera automatically updates its aspect ratio to match the texture in question, which is much more helpful. So now we can see here, okay, this canvas is actually skinny, see? And our text is going to fit more like this. Now the font's looking a little big. That's okay. Cool. So we'll make this like... yeah, for now let's keep this simple. We can go back later and make this layout better. For now we've got a little space here. Okay. And to make this easier to see, if I set this guy to render to white here, it'll be easier for us to see. It doesn't really matter because I've got the alpha set to 0. So this image is going to be clear except for where the text and the other pieces are rendering. Alright. So now we've got this camera rendering to this texture. Get rid of this audio listener. And now we want this content to show up on our letter. So we're going to need a quick shader for that. This is going to be pretty simple. I do love making shaders though. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I don't know why. I just love shaders. Okay, we want a surface shader. This is going to be story letter. Who cares? Right? I could call it something generic and make it reusable, or I could just quickly make the exact thing I need for the exact case I'm doing. I'm going to go with the latter. Alright, so we're not going to tint this. We do have a main texture, and then we're going to have a content texture. Okay. Both of these default to white. We have the glossiness and metallic settings, that's fine. And this is an opaque material, blah, 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 blah. We're using one set of UVs. We do need the color, though. I think that's how you do that. We'll double check this in a second. So we're not using this. We need another sampler here, sampler 2D for the, what do they call it, content text. Okay. And, alright, so pretty simple. This gets the paper texture. Now let's make another one. So we'll call this diffuse. And we'll call this content. Okay, so we read from the main text, which is the paper texture. Then we read from the content text, which is our render texture with our words on it. And then we're going to use content alpha equals in.col.r. We'll just use the red channel of the vertex color. So now our albedo output is going to be... Alright, let's just do this. Let's do fixed for... Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay. Albedo is going to be content times content alpha plus diffuse times 1.0 minus content alpha. This is basically standard blending. So you can see if anywhere the content has a full alpha, we're going to get 100% of that, and we're going to get 0% of the diffuse. Anywhere content alpha is 0, we're going to get none of this, and we're going to get all of this, and then anything in between is in between. Okay. That should be pretty close. Let's go back to Unity and see. Line 30 doesn't like line 30. What did I do? Okay, so this is wrong. Let's see. This is the kind of stuff I still have to Google once in a while. Okay, surface shader inputs in Unity. Down here. There we go. float 4 with the color semantic is the vertex color. So why is that? Oh, because I needed a semicolon. Okay. And then down here, this needs to be the diffuse alpha. Okay, so that's compiling now. So now we can go to our story letter material and switch this to our custom story letter material, and then set this to be the story letter content. Hey, look at that. Okay. Now, how smooth is paper, you know? Definitely not very smooth. Okay. Okay, now this is looking like we're getting somewhere, although... Oh, I see the bounds. The bounds for these renders is busted. Look at that. Yeah, see, if I let that get off screen, it thinks the whole thing's gone. So we need to mess with these a little bit. Let's just make this generous for that and for this. Okay. Okay. So that looks okay-ish. Looks like I've got some stretching happening. And it's like partially drawing it on the back there. Okay, and our envelope needs to be adjusted. It's interesting that the envelope looks like bright white. We'll figure that out in a second. These both have story letter on them. Okay. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Yeah. Surprised you can see it on the back here. So we must not have put fully black vertex colors on this. Let's have a look at this. First of all, I adjusted the, okay. I moved some verts around, and so now this needs to be adjusted. Okay, and then let's go to double check our vertex colors here. So this, we want to go to vertex paint. And we want white on these. And on these, we want fully black. Save that. Come back here. Okay, there we go. So now our content is only showing on this side. I'm wondering here, it kind of looks like, let's go back here to this camera. It's almost like this alpha value is not coming across. See, like if I set this thing to render to a, transparent red, like I'm still seeing that red there, so I'm not seeing the paper texture come through, so that's the problem. Wonder why that is. Yeah, this has an alpha channel. Okay, so maybe I'm doing something dumb in my shader. I'm probably doing something dumb in my shader. I am doing something dumb in my shader. Okay. That was a nice sequence of thought right there. Okay, let's leave this red to debug it. Okay, now we're no longer seeing it on the back though, that's good. And we need to go here to our letter. This guy. And go to vertex color. vertex paint and set those all to black. Okay, so now down here our envelope doesn't get any of the letter content on it. Okay. Alright, so what's the problem here? Problem here is I was just using the vertex color is saying where am I allowed to show the content, but what I really also need is content.a times that. Hey, there we go. See, look at that. You can see the paper texture through. That's nice. And we got rid of our squishing or distortion. Okay. Now, I'm not going to worry about lighting for right now. Let's go back to our animation then. So we have this glorious animation here. Look at that. So let's fix this up a little bit. Okay, so what we want is we want the envelope to fly in, pause, open the flap, letter slides out, letter unfolds, right? So first thing we can do is, let's see, maybe about this long. We're going to spend getting the letter up onto the screen. So let's go into record mode. And we're going to slide this down off, and maybe we'll have it kind of come in with a little bit of a mirror. So actually we need to go back here and set this. What was this here? Right, to just 90, 0, 0. Okay. We can kind of swoop in a little bit. Okay. Shoot. Okay. So swoop in, short pause. Cool. Then, probably right around here-ish is where we're going to want to start pulling the letter out. So now we can spend this time opening the flap. Okay. That's this going back to 0, or maybe even past open, like a little bit like that. Okay, so it flies in, opens up, and closes back down. Right, because I don't need these keys anymore. Okay. Flies up, opens up, and then the letter comes out and it's going to open up. So now we're going to copy this keyframe. The next thing that happens is the letter slides out, probably to right here-ish. So for that, we can take the envelope, right? Have we moved that one? No, we moved the... To get this out, how are we doing this? We're raising the letter out. Okay. So kind of what we want is, we want this keyframe now. Actually right here. Did I screw that up? Let's look at this. So it's come up, pause, open the flap, short pause. Here's where the letter should be sliding out. Okay. So we want to grab this, get rid of this, put this here. But at this point, we don't want to have unfurled the letter yet. So we don't want this key, we don't want this key. In fact, we want copies of these keys at this point. Okay. Slides in, pauses, opens the top, short pause, letter comes out like that, opens up. Now obviously the opening up needs to happen in sequence. What is the sequence? The bottom part needs to open up first. So maybe by like right here, we want the bottom open. Yep. And then we're going to delay opening the top like this. Shoom, shoom. Okay, that's getting a little closer. Can cut that a little tighter probably. Okay. Alright, we have a nice rigid sequence here of what we want. The whole thing's too slow, right? Probably want to, yeah. I think we want to hold on the letter slightly longer. Let's get it up onto the frame and then kind of hold on it a little longer. And then that opens, and then pretty much right away we should be doing that. Yep. Okay. Not bad. I think I could actually get the letter in position faster. Right. And then this is the section where it opens, right? This whole thing can be a little faster. Let's try that. Not bad. Okay, now I wonder if I can do some stuff here, like, what if I just set, oops, what if I just place this whole thing like right there? So there's no delay there. That's already better. Yeah, we could even actually let this drift a little later. So it's like it opens and then it's still kind of opening a little wider as we pull the letter out. That already looks better. Cool. Now this too then, so right about here even we could start opening the bottom flap. That's cool. And then right about where should we start opening? Right about here we should be opening the top. And I bet we could speed up that a little bit. Okay. Alright, we're getting somewhere. It's still a little robotic. Let's try and give this a little extra. Let's go to, for example, this bone, which is the position bone, right? Let's go look at the curves. Like Y position, no? Z position is the, here's where that animation is happening. So we could add in a little like overshoot right here. Probably too much. Too much. This one's probably needs to be calmed down a little bit, but this one could keep some momentum. Still a little too much, maybe. And this one we could actually go like this. So it's kind of like a, yeah. It's a little better. Let's look at the rotation of this. So the rotation is mostly happening here. Same thing. I wonder if we give this a little life. Okay, it's already less robotic, so that's good. Now let's look at the envelope flap. So this is its rotation. Comes in, shoom. Alright, how do we make this look a little better? Like, I wonder if actually... kind of have it shoot off. Does that look better? I wonder if I slide this out over time a little more. Alright, this is starting to look okay. So let's call that okay for now. Okay. Cool. Okay, now we're also going to need a dismiss animation. Because what's going to happen is, you know, when you come to this screen and the letter needs to show, obviously we're going to instantiate this prefab, and then we're going to kick off this animation. It's going to fly up onto the screen. It's going to sit like that. We might want a little an idle, which is a tiny bit of motion, like it's floating in space there, but I don't know. That might make it harder to read. So let's not worry about that for now. For now, we're just going to have it pause at the end of this animation and just sit there. So if I add final keys to all this, that will be nice, because then I can grab this whole frame, copy that, and then make a new clip called story letter dismiss, and paste in the starting point, which is this. And we just need this thing to fall off screen, right? Like, this would be pretty simple. So 1 second later, it's, let's just move the main bone. It's fallen off screen, and it's, you know, rotated so that it's sort of, okay, that can be way faster, about half a second. It's probably good. I guess we can kind of just like really get that off screen. There we go. And we can look at this motion curve here. Which one is it? Is it this one? Looks like Z is the main down component. And we can kind of give that a little more of a gravity looking curve. Okay. So then if we look at the animator for this, this could be pretty simple. Wait, no, this one. Right? When you create this object, it's going to play the open. And then we're going to add a trigger called dismiss. And when that trigger happens, we play the dismiss animation with no transition. Just play it. And we do this when dismiss happens. Okay. And, alright, that's a start. Okay, we're going to want a script on this object so we can tell it to dismiss itself and stuff. Let's keep this simple. We're just going to make a... where am I putting this? It's an environment script, I guess. Create. Story letter. And I think, you know, one option would be that through script here you could like set the text of the letter, for example. But I have a feeling I'm going to want the layouts to be kind of like pretty custom. So in order to do that, well, I think I'm just going to make prefab variants of different copies of this letter where the text is actually the layout of the text is thoughtful, I think. So for now, I'm not going to put any support in here to change the text, for example. We just need a reference to the animator. And this thing will, and then we're going to have a like void dismiss. So this is from the code, like, oh, the player is done reading the letter, you need to dismiss it. That's going to call m.animator.setTrigger dismiss, which we created a second ago. Then we're going to have that animation call a function, dismiss animation complete. And this is where we would clean up ourselves, which, trying to think if I want this thing to like destroy itself or what. For now, let's just do GameObject.setActiveFalse to completely hide itself. Okay, so that's our world's simplest script. We will put that onto the root object here. Okay. Give it a reference to the animator. And then we need to go back in here to our animation. Our dismiss animation needs an event here at the end, like that, which needs to call dismiss animation complete. Okay, cool. So let's call this our content canvas. Header text. Okay. All right, now with that sitting here in the scene, let's look at this lighting real quick, because this is maybe going to be a problem. I wonder if I want to add, let's see. Let's add a point light inside this tent here, just to give us a little like fill lighting. We're going to put it over to the side here a little bit, so it's kind of like a little backlight. And let's have this be kind of a warm color, I guess. Maybe more like that. I was wondering if I can use this to essentially give the character a little bit of like a secondary light and then a fill light, and also light up this letter. I'd like the letter to have some lighting. I don't want it to be unlit. Like right now, this stuff is, the posters and stuff are completely unlit. I wonder if I make this into a spotlight. Spotlight, I kind of think of it as like a nearby short-term directional light. Let's see, so just have this in here a little bit, and then we say we only want this to light up default, because I have a environment layer. Okay, let's actually go in here to the beach and say this is all on the environment layer. Is this going to break everything? Let's see. Come back out here. Oh, right, no, my tent needs to be, not the whole thing though. This needs to be on the environment layer. And my walls, which are these, need to be on the environment layer. Okay. Okay. So this is our tent fill light. I gotta get better about naming things at some point. Okay. I don't think we want any shadows or anything. Okay. Let's have a look at this. I still gotta look into why this is broken. Oh, look at that. The character already looks quite a bit better with a little bit of that like kind of rim light on the side. I like that quite a bit. And we have a nice looping animation happening over here, which is giving us a quick preview of what this is going to look like. Obviously I gotta fix the depth of the field, but as you know, we're getting somewhere. Cool. And if I remember correctly, yeah, I have where is that camera? Like here, when you're looking at the map, I have this thing called target, which is where it sets the depth of field, I think. Let's actually try this real quick. So for example, when you're on this camera, what the heck camera even is this? Does this tell us? Cam profile. Profile target. This is interesting. So the target is placed well, but it's not. Oh. There's no post-processing profile set on this. Why? Save that. Yeah, why do these go missing sometimes? I have messed with the post-processing a lot in this project, and by like adding it and removing it a couple times, it's gotten a little screwed up. And none of these have this set, which is concerning. Let's see if that makes any difference. I wonder why they would have gone missing. There we go. Now, when we go here, we should be able to, for example, if we look at the map target and we slide this to here, there we go. Now the letter is in focus and the background is slightly blurry. So we're going to have to be able to do that when a letter turns on. We have to move that target. But that's not a big deal. Okay. Now, before I forget, we're going to mark these animations on the story letter. Open, does not loop. Dismiss, does not loop. Okay. So now when we come over here, we should just see the letter just sitting there. By the time we make it over here. Oops. Yeah, that went missing again. What the heck? Okay. Cool. Alright. Cam profile. See, look at that. Why doesn't this get saved? don't know. It's super annoying. See, they all go missing. Look at that. And like this one, the Cinemachine post-processing icon looks correct. This one does not, for example. Ugh. I really don't want to like revisit this problem because I just have vague memories of being super frustrated trying to get post-processing working in the game again. It's sort of a weird combination of the post-processing system and Cinemachine, and they're like something is out of whack. Camera face. Like I wonder if there's some correlation, like the ones where the icon looks right are working, and the ones where the icon doesn't look right or busted or something. Let's try saving the project. Right, so I'm going to run it once. It's going to be fine, right? Okay. Then I'm going to turn, boom, they all go away. What the heck? Oh! Ooh! Hint! Save during play is turned on. Let's turn that off. Well, it's not turned on all of them though. God damn it. Wonder if that was related though. Let's hope it's a save during play bug. Wouldn't that be great? Let's try this one more time. I feel like it's not going to be related to that. Menus. I'm just reassigning these references over and over again. Not looking good. Okay. Save. Save project. Okay, run it. Alright. Blah, blah, blah. Turn it off. Ooh, are they still there? They're still there. Okay, this is possibly a save during play side effect. Alright, anyway, good progress today. Let's see, what are we going to do tomorrow? We're going to try and finish up this letter junk. I want to add like a little wax seal onto the envelope. To make it seem a little more like an official letter. So we'll add that, get that in, and then we need to just hook up the flow. So when should it show a letter, when it should instantiate it, play that animation, then wait for an input. I guess I'll put some kind of dismiss button or something. Then you dismiss it, make it go away. And then give control back to the map, and we need to adjust the target for the depth of field. So that's probably sounding like what tomorrow's going to look like. Everybody enjoy the PlayStation announcements today. I got my PlayStation shirt on in vague spirit. See y'all tomorrow.